it's Jessi. Today I am starting Oathbringer, Book 3 of the Stormlight Archive by Brandon Sanderson. If you haven't watched already, I have a whole series of reading diaries where I read these books for the first time. So this will be my first time reading Oathbringer. To quickly sum up my feelings, I think Way of Kings was long-winded and wasn't really worth it, but hopefully the series will make Way of Kings worth it. I don't like Dalinar. Adolin has grown on me. Kaladin's my child, and I love him. And Shallan is the sweetest, most darling thing in the world, and is perfect. And Yasna can do literally no wrong. I think that sums up basically how I feel. I know it's mostly characters. These vlogs will each include spoilers for whatever section I'm talking about, and I think that about covers it, which is good because my battery's going to die. But I will be popping in here every 50 to 100 pages to update you on what I'm thinking and let you know what how I feel so far. Okay. Alright, let's pick out a bookmark for Oathbringer. Fine, we're using a bee sticker. This is from Bar Hill, I think. Is it? Yeah, this is from Bar Hill Distillery in Vermont. Great gin if you're in the market for it. Anyway, so Oathbringer, I have just finished chapter 9, so I'm like 100, just shy of 100 pages in. It's a big chunk, because that's the way things worked out. Also because honestly the first like 5 chapters I had nothing to say except Dalinar. Like, guys, this is gonna be a struggle. It's gonna be a real struggle because I'm just Dalinar. I promise I am genuinely trying to give him a chance. But so anyway, let's start with the prologue for this one. Was what is her name? Oh my god. Our lovely listener friend Eshonai. It's again the assassination, but from Eshonai's perspective, which gives us a little more information about what went on, which is that Gavilar was planning on betraying the Parshendi. He's trying to bring back the... Sorry, my hair is kind of awful today. He was trying to bring back the gods, which for the Parshendi is a bad thing because their gods were corrupt, if I understand correctly. So that's why they decided to assassinate him. And I think we know that, not Sadeas, maybe Sadeas, but definitely Jerkwad, Amaram is was helping him and is continuing that mission, so that's interesting. What else? So Dalinar, don't like him. Dalinar doing Dalinar things. Sadeas' murder has been discovered. Adolin's real nervous about it. We got the first of the Dalinar flashbacks, and I gotta be honest, not feeling it. He just has no respect, no sanctity for life at all. Makes me really uncomfortable being in his head. Just not a fan. Then we had... and then we had some Kaladin, and Kaladin finally got home. Punched Roshar in the face, which is like Roshan in the face. Good for him. Now, I get that it wasn't the right thing to do, but thank God. I love Laurel now. She's grown up, and I love her. Good for her, like, really just taking care of her people. And then as far as the rest of it goes, and then we got some Shallan perspectives. Another murder. Somebody is copying Adolin's murder of Sadeas, which is fascinating. And that's really it so far. Like I said, I don't have a lot to say because 1, the beginning of the books are slow. 2, the beginning of individual parts is slow. And 3, Dalinar. So we shall see how it goes going forward. But guys, my hopes are not high for Oathbringer. But I will update you, I don't know, the next 100-ish pages that I do. Okay. Alright, so Oathbringer. I've gotten another decent chunk of pages. I am finished chapter 16 on chapter 17. Oof, okay. Cal visited his family. It was really sad. It was bittersweet. I like Laurel. I think I talked about this in my last clip, and I feel like I'm gonna be repetitive, but I don't remember. I like Laurel. His dad, Lerna's from Broken Earth. I don't remember. I don't know. In the first book, I liked him. In this book, he's coming across as very naive. Like, I think it's one thing to hope your son won't get involved in war. I think it's another thing to be like, my son, who has been bestowed gifts of God in order to help with this conflict, should still be a surgeon. I think there's some naivety there that's kind of bugging me. Shallan she worries me. Shallan, honey, you can't just deal with all of your problems by creating an entirely different personality. Like, sweetie. That said, Radiant, A+, love her. Also, like, despite what I have attempted, Adolin and Shallan are adorable. I can't help it. They're super cute. Pattern, best chaperone ever. They're just really, really cute, and I can't help loving them as a couple 95% of the time. There was that like one exchange where he's like, I think he means well. Like, keep in mind, I understand that the society of the Alethi are a specific kind of society, so I don't say this being like, I say this judging them, I guess, by our standards, but acknowledging that that's not what their standards are, I guess. But Adolin, like, tries to encourage Shallan to be more masculine a little bit by Alethi standards, because, like, now he has a shard blade, she has a shard blade, and he wants to train her. Also, given the, like, I don't know, I also think it's funny that the idea, like, I don't have a high spice tolerance, so I don't have a high spice tolerance, but, like, the idea of just only eating sweet things disgusts me. So, thankfully we don't live that world. Anyway, but he comes across so sexist doing it, being like, just because it's just like, it's uncomfortable. But then, oh my god, Adolin made a comment about, like, even the Dark Eyes has a shard blade now, which is like, but fine. But then Shallan, he's basically comparing me to a peasant. Get over yourself. Ugh. When will the racism in this book end? Because it's just exhausting. Anyway, as far as Dalinar goes, I'm really, really, really hating past Dalinar, and obviously I'm not supposed to like him. He murdered a child. But, on the other hand, present Dalinar is growing on me, reluctantly. He's a really good person, and that's winning me over. Like, he means well. Does he not take it far enough? Absolutely not. Like, Dalinar, honey, like, maybe you should stop supporting slavery at all. Not just when a slave earns not being a slave anymore. Maybe. But he's really, really trying. And despite my best efforts, no, I'm not kidding. I'm kidding. I do want to like him. He hasn't until now given me a lot of reason to like him. And, like, even now, like, he's growing on me, but I still don't like him. He's still arrogant. He still has this element of, I'm better, holier than thou. That's a good phrase for Dalinar. That I'm better than you. I know better than you. Like, now he's become, like, a heretic because he's denying the religion of his world, but ignoring the implications of that. He's just being like, well, I'm right. Honor wasn't a god. Why do we worship him like he is God? And it's like, just because he's not the being that created you doesn't mean he's not a god. And, like, it's just so dismissive, and so, like, he still really bugs me. But he really means well. Like, the fact that he doesn't want to hide information, that he doesn't like playing these political games because he feels like everybody's gonna lose out in the end, but in the short run it's necessary. Like, he has these really good qualities about him that might make me like him. Maybe. Although I still think it's gonna be hard because, like, I know he's done terrible things in the past and he's grown from it, but But like, I can only accept that so much when I don't actually get to see the growth happen. It's almost like they're two totally different characters. Like with Kaladin and Shallan in the last two books, we got to see most of their journey, right? Like Shallan at the beginning of book 1 was basically where she left off at the end of book 2. Flashbacks. Kaladin, we got basically everything except for the time he spent as a slave before joining Bridge 4. Dalinar, there's just such a big time jump, and he's basically a completely different person. And maybe, I don't know, as the jumps will get like shorter. Like right now it's like 30 years in the past, maybe later it'll be like 25 years in the past, 10 years in the past, maybe. But right now it just feels like, how am I supposed to reconcile these as two different people and just be like, well, he had a change of heart after his brother died. Like, I need a little something more in there, and we'll see how that goes. But right now it's like they're basically two different characters. That's what I'm thinking so far. I will update you later. Part 1's kind of chunky, so we'll see how long this video turns out, especially if I keep recording long clips like this. Anyway, see ya in a bit. Okay, this is gonna be a really short clip because I think I almost need to apologize. I haven't updated in like 2 weeks, more or less. The issue is I also haven't read in like 2 weeks, more or less. And then the issue on top of that is that I read a few chapters before that. So I have no idea what I have and haven't said. So I'm just not gonna try to say anything right now. What I will do is I'm going to jump back into Oathbringer because I've kind of got distracted. And I will update you soonish when I actually have thoughts. Because the issue is I like do this thing where I don't film for a while, and then I'll have like, in my head, I'll imagine what I say when I film, and then when I go to film, I don't actually remember what I actually said or what I just thought I said. So what I do remember, there was something about Dalinar that was bugging me, but that's not anything unusual. I'm amused by Adolin trying to solve the murders he's done. Oh yeah, Shallan's gotten deeper into the whole copycat murder because somebody copied her stabbing somebody. I think that was new, which is interesting. Kaladin is is like leading the listeners at this point, or not leading, advising the listeners, so that's interesting. I like that just because they've been awakened, they aren't immediately turning into the war form or storm form cruel version of Parshendi or listeners. They're just not in dull form anymore. I like that. And that's kind of what I remember. I distinctly remember there was something I wanted to say about Dalinar, but I don't know what it is now. So I'm getting back into it because that was kind of on accident. And I think I'm really close to the end of part 1. So hopefully I will get to you with my final thoughts on part 1 soon. Good morning. I'm just about to make tea for the day. And break everything in the process. Making tea. Anyway, I finished part 1 last night, and it was exciting. I still have to do the interludes, but I will do that today. We got a little bit of Shallan just, so it started, the part I read last night started with Shallan chasing down that weird spren. I swear to God, everything in this world is a spren. I'm like, to a point where literally everything has a spren. I'm gonna start believing that human souls are actually spren that have somehow developed different traits. I know they use it as just like a catch-all term for things, but it's like, I don't know, why couldn't this have been called a spirit or a demon or literally anything else? Anyway, for the record, this is some Moroccan mint tea from Steep Society. Very good. Anyway, and anyway, that mini rant over. Her and Adolin and Bridge 4 and Renarin fighting together was just such a cool scene. I absolutely loved it. It was just wonderful. Oh, I did remember, because I went to tell Rid's Discord what I thought of the ending. And I'm gonna move away from that because it gets loud while it boils. I remembered the Dalinar thing that was bugging me. Dalinar, the one thing I'm wondering is how Sanderson's ever going to get Dalinar to be like, I don't know, how is he going to reconcile past Dalinar with present Dalinar? And I realize there's like a 30-year gap between what we've been seeing of past Dalinar and where Dalinar currently is. And I just don't know if he's going to slowly move times closer together or what. And then the other thing with this was I was thinking about Dalinar and his memories with his wife, and I have a few different theories. One theory is that the Stormfather says it's not something to do with his oath, but I do think it's possible that just you can only be bound to one spren at a time. So being bound to this Stormfather meant he's losing his bond with this other spren whose name I can't remember. One option. The other option would be that like whatever benefit he was getting from her, he's lost. So now the opposite, whatever punishment he was losing, is also fading. It could be the tower itself doing something, maybe. So one of the theories I have is that the wish granting spren, whatever her name is, might also be one of the fragments of the thing that this one, the Night Mother or whatever she was called, that Shallan confronted. I think they might be the same. So maybe something about being in her domain cleaned him from that. Those are my like theories there. My other theory is that maybe losing the memories of his wife wasn't the price he paid, but maybe it was the thing he asked for. Something horrible and tragic happened and he wanted to forget it. Maybe. Those are kind of my theories right now. Or maybe like there wasn't maybe specifically his wife, but some other memories he wanted to get rid of. I don't know, somewhere in there, that's what I'm thinking. Anyway, Kaladin, he's doing his hero thing. His I'm a good boy, I'm always gonna do the right thing. Although he does have some interesting discussions with Syl about morality and like how there is no objective form of what is right. So I think that could be really interesting potentially, but I think it's always kind of done in a little heavy-handed of a way personally. Yeah, and then at the end Yasna showed up, so I really want to get into part 2 so I can read Yasna because I miss her. I don't know, I wonder how much people are going to believe it's her. I think they'll probably do some sort of like, only Yasna would know this thing. And see, there's a part of me that because we saw her return at the end, almost really thinks this isn't actually Yasna, because it would be a really interesting way to trick the reader to be like, well, you think that it's Yasna, so all these people not trusting her, you seem silly to you, just because it's, you know, not necessarily what you would expect. But I think I'm just kind of trying to throw conflict in where it's not necessary. I'm really excited for Yasna to be back. It's interesting. And I think so you have Yasna is one of the Knights Radiant, and you have Renard, and they're cousins. And then you have Dalinar, who is father/uncle, who I think there's something different about him insofar as the spren didn't come to him, he like forced the bond. And I wonder if that means there's something different about his bond as opposed to, say, Shallan's or Kaladin's. Oops, bad angle. Given that like he forced it upon the Stormfather a little bit. It didn't come from him, it came from reading the books that told him what to say, you know? So I wonder if there's something different about his. But in any case, you have at least cousins. I think that, I don't know how I feel about the idea of maybe Adolin developing something. I think we would have seen hints of it by now. And the only thing I saw as a hint was that time Kaladin lost his abilities, but I think that was because he touched a blade and Syl fled. Maybe. The time that he just lost all of his Stormlight. And I thought maybe that was him. I also think maybe it could be Zahel, the Ardent. So those are those there. So I don't really see Adolin necessarily becoming a Knight Radiant. I kind of like him as the not magical one. Although I really don't understand how the Spren can reconcile working with him using a short blade, but we'll see. And then like I said, I think Elokar might be. So I wonder if there's like a familial element there, like maybe, oh, that's the other thing. Come with me. I wrote this down. The Stormfather called Kaladin something. That's gonna be too long. Sit there for a second. Where is it? He called Kaladin the son of Tanavast. And, oh no, you can't sit there. Yes you can, but stay. Awesome. And I'm wondering if he is... Calic is one of the names. Because, like, I don't think... Oh, that's terrible. Why don't I have any good spots? Okay, this will have to do. I don't think that there's a chance that, like, learn it, whatever. I don't think we're supposed to be brought aside that Kaladin, his parents aren't who he thinks he is. So I think it might be a reference to, like, the original Knights Radiant or something. Like, this is the guy that founded the Order of the... whatever the heck Kaladin is, Storm Chasers, whatever he is. But I wanted to look at the prelude of... it doesn't seem to be in there. I feel like I've heard the name Tanavast before. But... or maybe it's the way, like, some Spren have names. Maybe the original Honor Spren was Tanavast. But we got Calic, Jezrien, Telenel, which is the one that Ishar, Tom is the one that didn't make it out. I'm also thinking maybe we'll only ever get 9 because there's Tom is still there, so maybe his order doesn't get refounded. Anyway, if there is a Tanavast, he's not mentioned. So, I don't know. Maybe there goes that theory. Anyway, I will read the interlude today and we'll update you a little bit later. Alright, and I've done it. I have finished Oathbringer Part 1. So the interludes, there were only 3 of them. I don't know why he did 4 in that last book. It threw me off. He needs to, Sanderson, stick to patterns or don't do patterns. The deviation from the pattern. This is why I love pattern. Guys, oh no. I was holding it in place with my finger and my finger slipped out. Okay, we're back. So the first one was, I read these like a couple hours ago. Why can't I remember? Ship. What on earth is that? The first one was a ship and I'm so confused. I don't remember it at all. It's probably because I'm reading Life Ship Traders right now, so bless you. It's probably because I'm reading Life Ship Traders right now, and that's the only boats in my mind. What? Oh, it's just, I mean, everything was about the storms. Yeah, I don't really remember this one. I hope it doesn't end up being super important. Oh, it's a guy, and a lightkeeper being excited for the storm? Anyway, sorry, Puli, I don't remember you. Alista was the one, it was the Ardent who just wanted to read, poor baby. And the Ardents, I thought the part with the Ardents trying to figure out the pattern of the Everstorm was super cool, and also the new pattern of the storms coming. Just really interesting, and that's the most thing. And then there's them flirting with the other Ardent who is reading the thing, so that's been interesting. And then there, not Yasna, Navani has kind of distributed the John Chant translation, which is neat, but like, I don't know. The only one of the interludes that I really found super exciting was, of course, the listener at the end, so Venli. Eshonai's dead. I don't know why. That was like really upsetting to me to read. I mean, she's not like a major character by any means, but like it was just, there was something about it that was upsetting. And then there's the fact that the friend she's working with was a, what's the word I want? Not retribution, starts with an R. Redemption. A redemption spren, which is interesting. So does it mean that that's one of the other spren for the Knights Radiant? Does it mean maybe Fenley should be a Knights Radiant if the spren is bonded to her? Has the spren been corrupted, which is why it's not supporting her? There is something interesting going on there. And then the fact that the spren, or at least these spren, have been at war with humans, which I would guess would be a response to the betrayal, maybe? But if that's what it is, then it seems like there's kind of going to be this like forgiveness versus revenge kind of concept, where the bad spren are the ones trying to get revenge on the humans, whereas the good spren like Syl are the ones that are forgiving and trying to reunite with the humans. I don't know, maybe. Also, it occurred to me, and I'm gonna, this is really it for that. That's all I have to say about the interludes, but it occurred to me that everybody is in the same place for the first time now that Yasna's back. Kaladin is also back. We're gonna get Kaladin and Yasna interacting, possibly? I think it just might break the Cosmere. Because how? Because they're like practically opposites. Yasna is all about practicality and doing her version of what is correct or right is based so much on, it's very utilitarian. Whereas Kaladin's been really struggling with this idea of like, what is the right thing to do? Who deserves to die? Who deserves to live? Nobody should die. And so I cannot wait to see them interact. And I'm terrified to see them interact, but we'll see. But that's it for me. Make sure you subscribe down below if you want to see the rest of this series as I continue to share my thoughts. I hope my camera is not picking up the slapping of my hands as I move them about erratically. Drop a like if you liked it. Leave a comment below if you are loving these, if you're enjoying these. Let me know what you think so far of my thoughts. How far off base am I? Don't spoil anything. There was something specific I wanted to ask about, and now I don't remember what it was. Oh, in terms of Shallan, if anybody has like any sort of, because she has this whole thing where she's divided her personality between these three people, Shallan, Vale, and Lady Radiant. If anybody has down below a review, video, text, blog, whatever, of somebody with DID, or some sort of other alters reviewing or talking about this, I'd be really fascinated to understand how well or how poorly this is done. My main thing from my very, very rudimentary idea of DID is that she's much more in control of it than I think it normally works. So I'd be interested, or to hear if people have ideas about how, if that's even the intent there, or if there was something else he was going for. But I'd be really interested in more thoughts on that. So if you have any of those, leaving them in the comments below, especially marking with whatever spoiler. So if it's not Oathbringer Part 1, making sure to say that down below. Of course the air conditioning comes on. All right, I'm gonna go now. Love y'all, bye.